Chapter 31 Ceremony of the Crown. Still October 28th, 1936. Midnight. Oh, wait, typo. Sorry. A meadow-like clearing had been set up for a proper site for the crown's ritual. There were planted flag banners of the Japanese flag and a flag of the rising sun. Some of the flags also had Yoshigaki Hinumaru language. I think I butchered that. Or good luck writing. Some of the flags had text in Japanese that read, "May your military fortunes be long lasting, loyalty and national service," and other good luck charms in kanji. There were also 1930s filming cameras, alongside other filming equipment, and nearby floodlights and smaller solar panels scattered around the site. There was also a stone altar in the form of a rectangular mound. Surrounding the altar were incense bottles, four menorahs on all four corners of the altar, and a circle of petal leaves. There were also sacrificial items taken from Palenque, such as ancient wine, ancient knives and hatchets, bronze armor equipment, and obsidian and jadeite weaponry. There were also bottles of milk, fruits, vegetables, honey, and meat newly placed by the soldiers. Around the site were a few nearby parked Japanese military vehicles, and all around were floodlights and unexposed lighting equipment, including army lampposts. And in front of the freshly built stone mound altar was a Serdab statue of Excel, and on the altar itself were a large pile of jungle wood neatly placed, and in front of the altar was a relatively small crown of quartz where the golden crown was resting. Nearby, another lamppost. Nearby, alongside another lamppost, were near were Indiana Jones and Nima Moctezuma, and both archaeologists were tied up by ropes to the post. Biamon chuckled before arrogantly remarking, "Dr. Jones, surely you never thought you could outmaneuver us? Your morals can make you fight back against your enemies." Indy responded, "Then the imperial family has no Bushido code." Biamon was actually wearing clothing of what an ancient Mayan priest would wear. Biamon wore a clerical tunic with a round two-layered Cossack, and a Cossack. Cassock, I meant. Cassock. Typo. Sorry. And a Chausable. And a Chausable. Chausable? I don't know how to say that. Chausable. I don't forget it. He was also wearing the cape of a skin jaguar, alongside jadeite and bronze jewelry, as well as a large Mayan male skirt along with the robes. The Frenchman also had a golden scepter, very similar to the staff of Excel and Nima's medallion, alongside a similar yet smaller Mesoamerican crown, which similarly was a rigid, pointed semicircle diadem or an elaborate flowing feather headdress, feathers of exotic birds and supported by deerskin, vegetable fibers, and gilded in silver, gold, and jadeite. Biamon told Nima and Indiana, "Dr. Jones, Miss Moctezuma, please pay careful attention to the ceremony of the Golden Crown. Please don't try to make any sudden movements or speak during the ceremony unannounced." Indy growled. Indy growled. Shit, I spoke that too fast. Okay, let's try that again. Indy growled. Indy growled. For when? "Hey, fish and chips, you have no idea what item you're tampering with," Biamon shouted to Indy. "I know what I'm able and not able to do. Do you understand me? No matter what you say, God, I spoke too fast. You're powerless to stop the ceremony of the Omega Crown for walking off the altar." Indy sighed before telling him, for pleading Nima. "Nima, Whatever happens during this ritual, please don't look. Whatever happens, you must close your eyes. Meanwhile, Byaemon in his priest's clothing, but also Kobayashi, while in military uniform, of course, both approached a small crown pillar with the Japanese garrison watching onwards in front of them. Indy affirmed to Nima, just please, please, don't look at whatever is happening in the ceremony. Keep your eyes closed until it's over. Nima nervously asked, what the hell is going on? Wait, what the hell is going to happen? Oh, wait, I spoke too fast. What the hell is going to happen? Indy simply replied, I have absolutely no clue what will happen soon, but I assure you, it's better not to know what will soon happen. Nima asked, Are you saying we're going to die? Indy replied, What? No! Please listen. I don't know what will happen, but whatever insanity happens, please, just keep your eyes shut. It'll be over very soon. I promise. We will be okay. Chapter 32. Miracle of the Crown. Byaemon held a ceramic jar of mine sacramental water. He slowly approached the altar with a slow, deliberate, and meaningful motion. Byaemon splashed his left hand in his sacramental water, and he formed a mock sun and moon crescent over his forehead, alongside splashing some sacred sacramental water where his heart would be. Byaemon then poured a large, slow, and careful portion of the jar over the altar's woodpile. Byaemon carefully set down the ceramic jar nearby, where it wouldn't get knocked over easily. Byaemon raised his hand slightly, and he tightened his grip over the scepter. Byaemon raised his neck and posture, in a very upright, erect, and meaningful posture. Byaemon chanted, O great Exchel, she of the pale face, O great Exchel, Lady Rainbow, we call to you, weaver of the cosmos, whose whirling spindle sets in the stars in motion. We see your light in the face of the moon, bringing the cycles, bringing the flow. She of the water jar, pourer of life, she of the water jar, bringer of floods, send us the rain to nourish the maize. Fill the river and the lakes from your abdomen. The waters spill forth from your armpits. The welcome rain falls. Lady of medicine, with the snake in your hair, Lady of healing, hear our prayer. Byaemon started to chant faster and more fierce. Protect the woman in their time of birth. Guard the mothers of the new earth. Guard us your wisdom, ancient grandmother, that we may walk in the path of the healer. Exchel, our mother, the great jaguar goddess. Exchel, our strength in the darkness and light. You are the rainbow over the water, a bridge of light, a promise of life. Nothing happened. Yet Byaemon then grabbed the sacramental water, and he did the same mock sun and moon over his forehead, followed by pouring more water on the altar, and this time at the golden crown. At and around the golden crown. As Byaemon splashed more sacramental water onto his hands gently, he noticed the water feeling lukewarm and his hands starting to shake slightly. Byaemon dipped his hands into the vase completely before raising his hand out. Byaemon noticed his hand feeling almost in a peacefully warm, purified, healing sensation for the remaining water off. For shaking the remaining water off. Kobayashi, as he watched on, chuckled in a seemingly maniacal and hysterical, yet curious and intrigued fashion. Indy saw the ceremony from a distance. He chuckled to himself, before smirking in a smug, satisfactory way. He then told Nima, Mark my words deeply. Don't open your eyes till the ritual has passed. I promise. Everything will be okay for the both of us if we keep our eyes shut until it has passed. Assuming we do. As long as we do. Crap. Byaemon stepped aside and he looked at the golden crown of the Omega. The Omega crown sat silently for a few minutes. The crown's emeralds, rubies, pearls, diamonds, and gemstones began to slowly glow to bright, shiny colors. The soldiers watched on in awe and confusion. Moments later, the emeralds and rubies emitted rainbow-like light beams, and from the crown. The rainbow beams landed against and even bounced off various surfaces, emitting small lightning strikes. The rainbow beams slammed against the floodlights, solar panels, and even landed against the engines and radiators of the vehicles. The brief yet chaotic rainbow beams only lasted a few minutes before stopping completely. All proper electrical and mechanical equipment disabled was disabled due to the light bursts from the rainbow beams. Once the rainbow beams faded, Biamon slowly placed down the scepter. Biamon then grabbed the golden crown and he raised it high in both of his hands. Suddenly, the gemstones, pearls, rubies, and emeralds emitted colorful, aura-like light beams. The light rays blasted upwards into the night sky. And suddenly, there emerged a handful of spiritual ghosts wearing Mayan priest clothing alongside a main ghost, the main ghost that resembled a Mayan high priestess and was distinctly West Indian. The spirits hovered over the ritual site, and even one of the spirits playfully levitated a Japanese soldier off the ground before gently placing the soldier onto the ground. Byakuman cried, "It's glorious! It's so awe-inspiring!" Kobayashi raised an eyebrow, gave a slight, smug smirk, and chuckled slightly. Suddenly, the Mayan high priestess's face almost began to melt. The spirit's face turned into a droopy, melted, almost organic, liquidy mess, spilling downwards, slowly revealing an uncanny human skull screaming eternally in pain. And the spirit even emitted an incredibly loud, deafening, and almost ear-splitting, satanic-like scream. Kobayashi screamed in terror and horror, and Byakuman cried out in disbelief and fear. Byakuman tried to let go of the crown, but it almost froze to his hands, as if glued onto them, not letting go at all. Nima shouted, "Indy, what the hell is going on?" Indy cried, "Don't look, Nima. Just keep your eyes shut until it's over." Byakuman's eyes contracted in fear and uncertainty. Kobayashi screamed at the top of his lungs in terror. Byakuman's hands shook aggressively as the Omega Crown began to rattle and jerk violently. The Golden Crown emitted aggressive thunderbolts and rainbow beams at the Japanese soldiers and officers. All of the IGA soldiers and officers got electrocuted aggressively and violently, and one soldier was even personally burned in a belligerent manner by the crown, getting cooked alive. The soldier's nervous system was violently fried and cooked alive by the lightning strikes. Even the soldiers filming with the movie cameras got electrocuted and blown away, and all the movie cameras either loudly exploded or got burned and completely disabled. Even the infantry vehicles present got shocked and exploded violently. Even the proud banners of the Japanese flag, the flag of the rising sun, burned on fire with no mercy. The golden crown began to emit an illuminated, incredibly bright aurora light. Aurora light. Both Kobayashi and Byakuman screamed in even more terror and fear. Suddenly, Kobayashi's face started to melt from the crown's supernatural abilities. Kobayashi's face melted into a liquidy, bloody mess mixed with mashed up brains and facial muscle until Kobayashi's face was just a skull. He screamed even harder and harder until his screams gurgled in the man's blood before turning to silence. Kobayashi screamed in horror before his head suddenly blew. Oh wait, no, I mean Byakuman. Typo. Byakuman screamed in horror one last time before his head suddenly blew up into a mess of blood, brains, guts, and human flesh and two veiny eyeballs. Golden Crown then suddenly ascended upwards into the air. The golden crown of the Omega, from its feathered semi-fan headdress, emitted an ominous dark black cloud whirlpool in the dark black cloudy cyclone-like whirlpool in the tropical air. The trees and vegetation of Isla St. Helena, not Isla Hesse, I mean Isla St. Richard, my bad. Richard aggressively moved in cold, almost hurricane-like breeze. And suddenly, all the damaged and destroyed equipment and the dead bodies were disposed of. The bodies, the partially slash completely destroyed slash damaged equipment, and the vehicles were picked off the ground and swallowed up efficiently by the cyclone. Out of view, the golden crown was blown upwards into the air, like it was pushed by fountain water, and even higher into the night sky, for the whirlpool being pushed as it was pushed upwards by the whirlpool, up and down countless times, for the whirlpool and fire thunderbolts exploded into a fireball completely. The golden crown suddenly fell onto the ground before it landed perfectly unbroken in front of the altar. The only remaining object was a single disabled light post, with Indy and Nima seemingly tied up. Still, but not really, actually. Indy quickly opened his eyes, and he saw absolutely nothing anymore. Nothing. Just pure ambient silence. All that was left was him, Nima, the floodlight, the stone altar, and the nearly incinerated woods and the golden crown. Um, Indy looked down as he saw the ropes tied around himself and Nima were burnt into ashes around the pole. Ashes around the pole. Indy stumbled forward slightly, and Indy told Nima, "Okay, you can open your eyes now, Nima." Nima did so before stumbling slightly forward. She replied, "No way! The ropes got burnt! We're untied!" She chuckled before looking at the now desolate sight. As Nima and Indy hugged each other, she asked, "Where is everyone, though? Where did everybody go?" Indy responded solemnly, "I really don't know, but it's better not to know what ravenous force consumed them." Epilogue. Washington, D.C. 25 days. Wait, yeah, just 25 days late. Oh, crap. 25 days later, November 22nd, 1936, late morning. The halls of the U.S. Capitol building had vast hallways of grand historic corridors featuring rich marble, ornate sculptures, and iconic murals, as well as polished stone floors. An interior and exterior neoclassical Greco-Roman style architecture. There were elaborately decorated areas, which often included marble pilasters, intricate bronze railing with detailed sculptures, and richly patterned enostic tile floors, chosen for their durability and design. Eric Thompson and Edward Wingard were talking with Nemo Moctezuma and Indiana Jones in the Capitol building. Indy was wearing a business shirt and black tie, a leather vest, and a long-sleeved suit jacket. He also wore dark blue pants and newly polished black formal business shoes, and was clean-shaven and wore his glasses once more. Nemo was wearing a large, sleek black leather jacket alongside a formal, slick, bias cut gown. gown jacket. She also wore a 1930s tilt hat, black tights, and formal high heels. Wingard congratulated Dr. Jones and Miss Moctezuma. You both did an absolutely exceptional mission in recovering the golden crown of the Omega. Thompson joked. You two successfully just kicked Hirohito out of Mexico and sent his henchmen back to the islands. Indy stated, well, thank you very much. I couldn't have done it without any assistance without informing the White House. Indy told Thompson and Wingard. However, I should give that part to Moctezuma, as she was the one who called up the White House to send in the SS Venture to Cancun while at the Imperial Japanese camp. Indiana then said to both agents, but more so to Nima, I would like to congratulate Moctezuma for her brave and heroic efforts during our expedition. She really was a true vigilante against the IGA while in Mexico. I really and highly appreciate her actions very much. Nima smiled, and Indy chuckled to himself. Indy then asked Wingart, I really appreciate, and I'm quite proud of you two gentlemen. You two, you two, you two historian, you two. Wait, hold on. I really appreciate. Wait, hold on. No, I mean gentlemen. Yeah, right. Gentlemen, gentlemen, highly congratulated. Wait, highly congratulated. I misspoke there for a moment. Congratulated our success in Mexico. But what happened to the Golden Crown of the Omega? Lingard responded. Well, we flew it to the other side of the nation at an undisclosed location in the Nevada desert. Indy laughed nervously and he asked, okay, thanks for the congratulations on our mission, but why did you take it to Nevada? What are you going to do with the crown? Thompson replied, well, the Omega Crown is a highly destructive and potentially genocidal weapon of mass destruction. So if it gets into the wrong hands of a corrupt, aggressive, expansionist country like the Japanese government, it could spark another world war, leading to worldwide mass catastrophic genocidal atrocities and war crimes that are beyond any person can handle. Wingard sighed before continuing, which is why we took it to the military site in Nevada. Indy asked, could I hopefully soon get a flight booked by your people so I could by your people at the U.S. Army Intelligence Corps so I could potentially study the crown in person? Wingard responded, unfortunately, no. As just like we stated, the Golden Crown of the Omega is being contained and studied under close, highly militaristic 24/7 surveillance and studying. Thompson told Indy, now, we wouldn't now rule the possibility of you taking a visit to the site to visit the artifact yet. Even then, the U.S. National Guard has to get past its first few steps of performing basic diagnostics and studying on the crown to make sure everything about it is safe. Nima chuckled slightly and nervously in a confused manner. She asked, well, what do you two mean? What do you two gentlemen mean? Wingard affirmed, the armed forces will perform a series of studying, diagnostics, research, and simple experiments with the crown without tampering with it. And once the Omega crown has been placed in a safe research spot, Dr. Jones could have an opportunity to look at the crown up close. Wingard told Nima, but for now, it's best that we let the beast rest. We let the beast rest in its sanctuary. That kind of rhymed. Yeah, I'm sorry about the last part, but we should let the beast rest. It actually kind of rhymed. Beast arrest. Oh wait, no, that doesn't really rhyme. Okay, forget it. That was a stupid joke. I get it. It was stupid. Meanwhile, at the same time, Area 52 near Las Vegas, Nevada, early morning, an American soldier carefully grabbed the golden crown of the Omega. He placed cushioning and bubble wrap around the golden crown. The soldier then placed the golden crown in a rectangular metallic army box. The box had decent gapping, bubble wrapping, and blankets. The soldier then firmly placed down the box's lid before closing the little lock chains. The private then placed the metallic lock with much firmer chains. Firmer? Firmer. Firmer. Murmur. Like a Muppet. Chains in front of the box's lid before locking it shut. The box was then placed in a larger, rectangular, dark green military box, which too had some cushioning blankets, plastic wrapping, and paper and foam. And foam at the bottom. The box had a star representing the U.S. Army and the National Guard logo. The soldier firmly placed the much larger lid before locking the little chain locks on both corners of the box. The private then placed the chain lock, followed by another key lock in front of the lid. Oh, yeah, there's another tab. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. The soldier firmly placed the much larger. Yeah. Then the private then placed a chained lock, followed by another key in front of the lid. The soldier then carried the army box and placed it into a large gray vault box with more cushioning and gaping around the wall. The private closed the lids before using the key in the soldier's keys and locking shut the warehouse safe. The safe itself had the logo insignia of the U.S. Army, the U.S. Air Force and Navy, and the U.S. Army, Air Force, and Navy, alongside the U.S. flag, and on top was the government seal of the United States. There was also a number to the box of basic information and numbers, which, which was the box's number for some shit. The soldier went behind the warehouse cart and he began pushing it around the military warehouse. Eventually, the soldier carried the cart into a vast collection of very similar large crates. Once there was a vacant spot, the soldier grabbed the safe and he placed it on top of a smaller set of boxes. Wait, larger, larger set of boxes. And carefully and securely, the soldier then pushed the cart away from the site. The infiltrative mission of Indiana Jones had now come to a conclusive end. The Golden Crown was now placed in a safe spot. Yet Dr. Jones would go on more adventures to come through the years.